Hi, it's the third week of Easter, and in addition to all the projects that I'm involved with at church these days, I'm also working on a project here at home, which, as you can see, involves building some garden boxes, and the next stage, of course, will be to get some dirt into them, and then I'm looking forward to getting some seed in the ground here too. It's been a long time since Brenda and I had a garden, more than 20 years, I think. Partly because my thumbs are more brown than green, but also because I know by temperament I'm a lot more interested in building a setup like this and getting things going than I am in looking after it later, especially when it comes to weeding. Just not my thing at all. But I started thinking about this last summer already and decided, you know what, this is the year for a garden, for a couple of reasons. One, it'll be good for Brenda and me to have some better quality produce this summer. I think we'll eat better having it grown right here. And also, producing our own food, even in a small way like this, will help us to reduce our carbon footprint and make a small contribution to a more sustainable economy. So, I'm really looking forward to getting some seed in the ground pretty soon. It reminds me, though, that there's another kind of seed that's being sown in my life by the Lord Himself. And there's a couple kinds of seed there, some of which I'm more eager about than others. One is the seed of patience. There's a plant called impatience, I'm sure you know that, and that's a plant that I'm very good at growing. Too much impatience already in my life. This plant of patience, though, that's something that I can see the need for, and I guess it'll be a good thing to have grow. I'm not sure I'm very good soil in which it can grow, but the Lord is sowing it there now anyway. Another is the virtue of humility, which He's sowing in my life too these days, in teaching me that I can't manage everything, I can't control everything. Maybe having a literal garden will help me to learn that virtue a little better. And a third seed that the Lord is sowing these days is the seed of dependence. Dependence on Him and on other people too. I have a Lord. I don't need to be the Lord. I don't need to be in charge of everything. This too is something that we'll see how it grows. I can see a need. Not so sure it's going to be an easy thing for Him to cultivate. So what about you? What seeds are you sowing in your life these days? What seeds is the Lord sowing in your life? It's a curious sort of time, isn't it? There's a lot of idleness on the one hand, as a lot of our normal routines are on pause, and yet it's also a time of great fruitfulness, potentially so. A lot of things growing beneath the surface, weeds being plucked out, other things being sown, other things being fertilized and nurtured along the way. When Paul was writing to the group of Christians in Corinth, at one point he talked about the other apostles and said, whether it was they who did all of this stuff or me, the result was the same. The same thing was preached and the same faith was believed. I think that's true for us now too. It's a time when the Lord is sowing all sorts of things in our lives. Some of them things we never anticipated, some of them things we're not sure we even welcome. But He's up to things in our lives. It'll be interesting to see what fruit He brings from them. But along with His work, it's also a time when we can take initiative too and be His co-workers, working along with Him to make changes and seek fruits of one kind or another to become more productive in our lives. Whether it's He who's doing it or you, or a combination, I look forward to seeing what kind of fruits and harvest grow in our lives during this very interesting time. May the Lord bring a harvest for His name from all of this.